The following video you're about to watch comes from my Awakened Warriors private coaching group. This group focuses on three things: courses, community, and coaching. I have video courses in this group, almost 100 plus videos on topics like honing your discernment and seeing through psyops, topics like entrepreneurship, building your own non-job, building your own side hustle, being your own boss, right? How to navigate that process. And I have a ton of videos in there on health, from nutrition to supplementation to detoxification, and so much more. Plus community. There's a social media component, so you'll be able to direct message with me any time of day and talk to all the community members in there to help keep each other accountable, share our wins and success stories, and also share our hangups. What's inhibiting us from achieving our goals so we can all work together to better ourselves. And then coaching. I do weekly live Q&A calls so you can check in with me and we can check in with each other to help with the goal achieving process. Check the link in the description below to learn more about this Awakened Warriors group and or to sign up. Let's make 2025 our strongest, smartest year ever. Go learn more. Anyway, hope you enjoy this video. All right, friends, for the next few lessons in the Supplement Synopsis course here, we're moving from the store to the keynote presentation because there are some ideas that need visualization to help get through. And in this one, we're talking about the axis, as I'm calling it, or this workflow between different platforms whereby manufacturers are sourcing a bunch of cheap crap from China and they are selling it at a huge markup to an American audience. And it's this sort of interesting flow between these mainly Chinese platforms plus Amazon. I'm calling it the Amazon, TikTok, Alibaba axis, how the modern supplement industry is using cheap manufacturers and big tech platforms to sell a bunch of crap to the American market, basically. So what happens is that, let me get my little flow chart here. First, we've got Alibaba. Alibaba is like Amazon for manufacturers in China, kind of how it is. But you can source stuff internationally. American manufacturers, typically what they do when they just want to make a buck and don't want to make a real good product is that they'll go on Alibaba and look at the marketplace of Chinese manufacturers that can make cheap crap for them. And then the private labeler, the company, will source their products cheaply from Alibaba, get them imported into America, and then they'll use big tech platforms, primarily TikTok, but also Instagram, to market said products on. Then when said products go viral, the consumer will buy them, usually on Amazon. Sometimes they buy them on TikTok Shop or the Instagram Shop, the marketplaces that are plugged into these social media platforms, but typically they buy them on Amazon. And then the cycle continues. It's just a cycle. American company, source cheap crap from China, use Chinese app to make product go viral, and then people will see it and go, ooh, I want to buy it, head over to Amazon and buy it, and then, cheap American company will make buku bucks on it. We'll talk about the markup, what these things often cost, how to identify which products look like they're from Alibaba, just being marketed on TikTok, and I'll kind of show you some examples of these products that go viral on TikTok. Years ago, we're talking 10, 15 years ago, it used to be Dr. Oz would make supplements go viral. Dr. Oz would talk about raspberry ketones or green coffee bean extract in an episode, and then all of a sudden you'd get people rushing into the nutrition stores. Happened all the time when I was working at a nutrition store back then. We'd have 10, 15 people coming in the same day for raspberry ketones, thinking they're going to lose 30 pounds in a month with raspberry ketones. And then third or fourth person comes in for the same thing, and we're like, oh, okay, Dr. Oz talked about it. Green coffee bean extract was another example that Dr. Oz promoted that people would go 8 balls over. So these days, it's not Dr. Oz, it is TikTok making stuff go viral. So number one, sourcing cheap from China. Manufacturers source cheap products from Chinese factories, mainly on Alibaba, maybe on Temu. You can also find some of this, but I know Alibaba is the main place that you can find manufacturers that will private label their stuff for you. And the average margin of these, okay? So you go onto Alibaba, you can search for stuff, and I mean, you can pay as cheap as like $2 per bottle of a supplement and have it imported. The import fees or the delivery, the shipping can be a little pricey, might cost $500 to $1,000 to ship via DHL or container shipping, but still, working in the shipping plus that cheap per bottle, you might get up to like $4 to $5 per bottle. Whereas if these companies had to source the same thing or a similar thing, not the exact same thing, but a similar supplement of the same ingredient from America, it might cost about twice that. So it's unfortunate. You wish they would keep their manufacturing in the States, but due to all the bureaucracy and red tape and FDA and labeling laws, blah, 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 I hope that RFK Jr. can help cut a lot of that red tape and regulation, a lot of that price hiking. But these companies that are just looking for profit over making good products, they'll just go into Alibaba, source cheap crap from China, get it imported here, and they're paying like $5 per bottle. But then when it gets here, what they do is they list it on Amazon or on TikTok Shop for, say, $30. So we're talking 80 to 90% margin on their products, which is insane. That's insane in the supplement industry. A good margin is maybe 50%. Cost $10, sell it for $20. That's a 15% margin. That's like average. That's decent. But with these companies, they're like, ooh, I can source from China and get like 80, 90% margins. It's crazy. So some of the viral products going viral on TikTok and these social media platforms that are sourced from China, collagen, ashwagandha, lion's mane, greens powders. These are just a few. By no means not all of them, but just a few of the examples. I'll show you here in the next couple of slides about how they're going viral on TikTok. And one point I want to make very clear, sourcing from China or India, Asia, or Middle East Asia, that area, it's not always bad. You can find some good manufacturers that make decent products from China. You just have to make sure the proper testing is done. A lot of these manufacturers do not test. They don't even have testing when you ask them. But if you are going to buy a company that sources from China or source anything from China yourself, just make sure the manufacturer has heavy metal testing done on their products to verify what they say is in the product is actually the product. So the thing about Asia is that Asia is such a biodiverse place, is that some stuff, some herbs and ingredients, they only grow in China, or they only grow in Thailand. They only grow in Southeast Asia. So some herbs and plants are best gotten from Southeast Asia and China because that's where they grow in the world. That's their natural habitat. That's their native area. But you just have to be careful of the manufacturers that come from China. So I wanted to make that point clear. So here's some examples of specific products that have their listing on Amazon. These might even be the exact manufacturers that make these very popular brands. And then I just screenshotted their listing from Amazon. So ashwagandha, for instance. You can go to Alibaba, type in ashwagandha. Here's one of the listings from Zhengzhou Pharmaceutical Company Limited. Looks like they're offering it for $1.50 up to $3, depending on how many you get. The more you buy, the cheaper it gets. $3 for ashwagandha gummies. And they will put your logo and your label on the bottle. Now look, that logo and label looks almost exactly like this Goli Nutrition brand ashwagandha gummies listed on Amazon. These go viral on TikTok too. That's why they're so popular. $14, $15. So this company, Goli Nutrition, I bet you they source from China, maybe this exact manufacturer, for $2 to $3 a bottle, sell it for $15. Insane margin there. Here's another super popular greens powder, Bloom. You can find this stuff in Target now. It's all over the internet, all over Instagram. It's very viral. I found the manufacturer on Alibaba that makes Bloom greens. And you can get Bloom greens direct from the manufacturer for $6 a can. Bloom sells their cans for about $35. So cost them $6, maybe $8 to $9 because they got to pay shipping to get it here. Sell it for $35. Insane markup. So Bloom, I would venture to guess, comes from Chinese manufacturers, as does a lot of very popular and name brand products that you can find in big box stores and on Amazon. So first step, we talked about sourcing cheap from China. Second step, products go viral primarily on TikTok, and they go viral with paid ads from the companies. You see their sponsored posts scrolling through Instagram Reels or scrolling through TikTok. Also, you have influencer affiliates that make these products or ingredients go viral with what's called UGC, user generated content. That's what UGC stands for. So here's a couple screenshots I took on TikTok. All I did was searched lion's mane, and you can see how you've got influencers on TikTok sharing either the ingredients in general, lion's mane, or sharing specific brands of lion's mane, and they'll get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. Some get less than that, 10,000 views. Some get hundreds of thousands to millions. And then the bottom screenshot here, you can see I found a bunch of influencers promoting that exact Goli ashwagandha gummy, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views. So stuff gets sourced from China, goes viral on TikTok, people see it, and then they head over to Amazon to buy it. And again, sometimes it can be bought directly on the TikTok app or Instagram app on their shop pages, but most of the time the consumers, when they see it on TikTok, they'll head over to Amazon to buy it. And here are some listings of Chinese sourced products on Amazon. Amazon's basically becoming the new Temu. Years and years ago, Amazon used to be great for small businesses and small manufacturers to list their products to a mass audience. But these days, with how expensive Amazon is getting, their fees, Amazon's fees are insane. And small businesses just can't make it on Amazon anymore. Only the large mega corporations or the corporations that buy cheap shit, mark it up like crazy, have a very high margin and can afford to sell their stuff on Amazon. Those are the only ones that are making it on Amazon. So here's some listings. SheLegit is another one of those that's super popular on TikTok that a lot of people source from China. And SheLegit's one of those that only grows in the Himalayas. So you have to source it from India or China. But if you're sourcing SheLegit from that area, which it should be sourced from because that's the best place in the world it grows, you have to make sure that the manufacturer tests it. So here's a SheLegit listing. This company here, the second one from the left, I think this company is called Clean Nutraceuticals. This stuff's definitely from Alibaba, definitely from China. Here's that lion's mane powder. And then the one on the right, same company, Clean Nutraceuticals, with the same sort of cookie cutter label there. All of these being sold for $25, $30, $35 a bottle. Guarantee you cost this company $4 to $5 a bottle to purchase it. So here's our cycle. Cycle repeats. Companies source cheap products from China, promote them on big tech platforms. Consumers see paid ads or influencer promotion, purchase products from Amazon or TikTok shop. Just endless cycle. So I wanted to highlight this issue because you have to really be careful, especially on these big tech platforms. If you see products all over the place on these big tech platforms, they're probably cheap and really not worth the money. Not worth spending $25, $30 on it. You could spend that same $25, $30 on a different product from a different company that's not from China or that actually does testing and just doesn't have it's all about marketing money. You know, that's why these companies do this. They can afford to have the crazy high 80% margin by doing this, so then they can afford to pay for advertisements or list their stuff on Amazon and get it to go viral and make money by doing so. So it's all about, having a high margin so they can afford the marketing money. And the American-made products from American companies that are only getting 50% margin, like I was talking about earlier, at that margin, they can't afford all of that marketing budget. So they're not marketing to the podcasters or the influencers. They can't pay the internet influencers to promote their stuff or pay for all these tech platform ads. So that's why you're not seeing them. That's why you're not aware of them. But you just have to expend a little bit of effort to become aware of them. You're not going to see their ads. You just have to do some market research and, expend a little bit of effort to find a good company, a good product. So anyway, there's the Amazon, TikTok, Alibaba axis, as I so call it.